Feilu Fiction Network Class A Contracted Fiction. Is this anime? The new book is in Shuke, with the same pen name and benefits in the skirt, kun number. ***, Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Waste Materials of the Phoenix Family. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Underworld, Phoenix Family Mansion. In a dimly lit study, a middle-aged man with a calm and mature appearance sat on a chair, looking at a young man standing in front of him, about 16 years old, with a complex expression on his face. Finally, something came to his mind, and his gaze revealed a cold color. The Presbyterian Church has issued an order that you, who have not inherited the Phoenix bloodline, can never stay in the underworld again and must live in the human realm. The young man gave a bitter smile. He had short golden hair and golden pupils. Although his handsome face was still slightly immature, he was also a rare and beautiful young man with the stability of different young people. Father, at this moment, just open the sky lamp and speak frankly. If you want to drive me away, just say it out and don't use the Presbyterian Church as a shield. The middle-aged man's face changed and he immediately let out a cold snort, his eyes full of contempt. I don't understand what you're saying. Is it still because I am an illegitimate child that I have caused you shame? Not only is it a shame for the entire family, but I am also a useless person who cannot cultivate. You have always regarded me as a thorn in your side. The young man gave a self-deprecating smile and looked up at the middle-aged man, who was his own father, with no fear in his eyes. The expression on the boy's face, which was being stared at by him, was somewhat unnatural. He simply didn't cover it up and said coldly. Since you are so sensible, then I don't need to say anything more. As you said, as an illegitimate child, you still have reasons not to cultivate. You can't even deal with the lowest level demons. It's a shame for our Phoenix family. In the human world, I have sent someone to help you buy a villa and give you countless amounts of money, enough to live for a lifetime. Shouldn't I thank you? The young man's mouth curled up with a hint of irony, and then suddenly thought of something, saying, by the way, since you're driving me away from the Phoenix family, please give me the artifact fantasy magic book. It's a relic left by my mother, and you don't have the right to take care of it on my behalf. He looked coldly at the middle-aged man, without any fear in his eyes. The expulsion of one's biological son from the door, for any reason, proves that this father is a cold-blooded creature. Since he is not kind, there is no need to swallow his pride. Sure enough, when mentioning the artifact, fantasy magic book, the middle-aged man's eyes clearly flickered with a hint of hesitation, and he coldly refused. You don't even have the strength of lower-level demons. The artifact in your hands will only bury its radiance, and you haven't safeguarded its power. If you understand, then step down. No way. Even if I don't have the ability to keep it, I wouldn't leave it at the Phoenix home. Before he could finish speaking, the middle-aged man's eyes flashed with a crimson light, and an invisible force hit the boy directly. With a loud bang, the young man's body was thrown out, spitting out a mouthful of blood, staring at the middle-aged man with resentment in his eyes, on the edge of anger. He wanted to say something, but suddenly his head sank and he passed out completely. Stupid little brat who doesn't know what to do. Throw this waste away from me and don't let him get close to the Phoenix family's territory anymore. Yes. 2 demon servants flew in, one propping up the young man's arms and carrying him away. When he woke up, the boy found himself lying on a soft bed, with a pure white chandelier illuminating the entire room. Slowly turning his eyes, he could see that the room was very luxurious. But it's definitely not my place of residence in the underworld. Needless to say, it seems that he was thrown out by the so-called father. This should be the residence that the father prepared for him in the human world. Sensing the faint magic within his body, he realized that there was no one else in the entire villa except himself. Just drive me out, even the artifact left by my mother greets me on her own, it's really a noble's usual style. Wait for me, one day I will make you pay the price, Phoenix. The golden pupils of the young man flickered with a strange light. No mistake, the youth is a traveler. And he also knew that he had traveled to the world of anime called Devil's College in his past life. Beiyue Renwang is his official name in this lifetime. And his identity in this world is that he is the illegitimate son of the contemporary head of the Phoenix family, the 72-pillar demon king of the underworld, who was born out of wedlock with a human woman and does not have any status. And his mother, shortly after giving birth to him, passed away due to physical weakness. It can be said that King Ren did not experience any maternal love from a young age. As for fatherly love, he. After realizing that he was a useless person who could not cultivate, coupled with his illegitimate identity, his father immediately became cold towards him, and every time he looked at him, his eyes were filled with disgust and indifference. If it weren't for his young age at the time, he would probably have been kicked out of the house on the spot, left to fend for himself. However, this is understandable. He, who is of mixed race between demons and humans, neither has the ability to cast magic nor inherits the unique abilities of the Phoenix family. Even the most basic demon wings of demons are sometimes ethereal. It can be said that he is a disgrace to the entire Phoenix family. And the worst thing now is that the artifact, Fantasy Magic Book, has been taken over by the Phoenix family, and it is estimated that it cannot be retrieved. Even among numerous artifacts, the Fantasy Magic Book is a top-notch artifact. The performance is only one notch inferior to the 13 Divine Annihilators. The book contains a large amount of magic, and even taboo magic has been generated. As long as energy is input, it can be used directly without any preparation time, spells, or costs, which is extremely convenient. However, thinking about these things now is of no use at all. The artifact, Fantasy Magic Book, is not with me, and I don't know what year and month it will take to retrieve it. King Ren knows that in this world of Devil's College, although seemingly peaceful, a diverse world that combines gods and demons, fallen angels, and various mythological systems is actually extremely dangerous. And now, as an ordinary person, he probably doesn't even have the qualifications to struggle. Those strong ones are just remnants of the battle, and they can blow him to ashes. The good news is that there is still a long way to go before the plot of Devil's College begins. As for why does Renwang know? Of course, it's because Russell Phoenix is his younger brother. That's right, the tragic blonde character in the original work, whose fiancé A.E. was snatched away by the protagonist Ichiro Ito and called a roasted chicken, is his younger brother. Riesel is only 13 years old this year. According to Phoenix and even the entire demon tradition, it will take 3 more years for Riesel to hold her coming-of-age ceremony and receive the beautiful girl's family from the original work. And to wait for the plot of Devil's College to begin, at least it will be after the age of 20, which means there will be at least 7 years left in the plot. In these 7 years, enough Renwang has done a lot of things. When he traveled to this world, there was also the so-called welfare of a traveler. There are just 2 kinds of welfare. One is the Supreme Divine Gate, which can be used to cross the world. But according to the information flowing from the Supreme Divine Gate, it can only cross into the anime world. And the second benefit is the Devil's Chess piece. As is well known, Devil's Chess is a unique product of the Devil's High School world. Since the trilateral battle between angels, demons, and fallen angels back then, as the leader of angels, God has died. The fallen angel side also suffered heavy losses, and as for the demon side, it goes without saying that all 4 demon kings were destroyed, and many demon families lost their inheritance, making the situation even more tragic. In order to make up for the shortage of demons, the demon side created demon chess pieces after the war, using real-life chess as a model to create a special item that can reincarnate other races into demons, and can also sign contractual relationships. In addition, demon chess pieces can greatly enhance the abilities and potential of their followers, making them a very practical prop. In today's demonic society, it is very popular and prevalent. Because it is based on real-life chess as a template, each set of devil pieces corresponds exactly to 1 king, 1 queen, 2 chariots, 2 knights, 2 monks, and 8 soldiers, totaling 16 pieces. New books for collection, flowers for recommendation. Chapter 2. Starting Crossing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. By the way, the demon chess pieces that the King of Ren comes with are all mutated chess pieces, and they are not ordinary mutated chess pieces. As long as he uses his demon chess pieces for reincarnation, it will elevate his own strength to a large level. According to the information from the Supreme Divine Gate, the strength level of the whole anime world can be divided into 9 levels, from the first level, the second level, the third level, the fourth level, and the fifth level, to the later higher dimension categories, that is, the 6th level, the 7th level, the 8th level, and the 9th level. The strength of the Demon King in the Devil's College is at level 6, and the Surpasser is at level 7. Monster-level beings such as Orpheus, Great Red, and Beast Emperor 666 are at level 8 and are no longer strong enough to resist. If there are no strong players of the same level, no matter how many people come, they are all part of the delivery. After the 9th level, it is the highest realm of the 10th level, and the strong at this level are collectively referred to as the All-God realm. Against the current of time and space, the dead are reborn, and with just one click, countless dimensions can be destroyed. At least in the information provided by the Supreme Divine Gate, no one has yet reached this dimension. To get to the point, the demon chess pieces of the Ren King are special items that have been trained by the Supreme Divine Gate. Compared to the demon chess pieces of the Demon High School's local world, this one is more advanced. As mentioned earlier, as long as this demon chess piece is used for reincarnation, it can elevate a level without any side effects. A 5th level powerhouse, a demon chess piece that has been trained with the Supreme Divine Gate, can instantly become a 6th level existence. Similarly, the 6th order becomes the 7th order, the 7th order becomes the 8th order, and the 8th order becomes the 9th order. Of course, this effect is also limited and will not have any effect on 9th order existence. That is to say, if a 9th level powerhouse has used this demonic chess piece, it will not transform into a 10th level All-God realm. Of course, the 10th level is known as the Realm of All Gods, which is the ultimate manifestation of all living beings. Even the Supreme Divine Sect is deeply wary of the existence of this level. Thinking of this, the King of Ren couldn't wait and wanted to distribute his demonic chess pieces. However, as for the candidate for the contract, careful consideration is needed and one cannot be careless. First of all, ordinary people must be excluded. Most people are ants who don't even have first-level strength. Even if they integrate demon chess pieces, they only improve to first-level strength, which is not even cannon fodder in the world of demon universities. Fortunately, there are many higher worlds in the anime, and there is no lack of powerful existence. But before that, one must also arm oneself with strength, otherwise everything is just empty talk. Feel the pain in your chest. The injury has not fully recovered yet, which makes Ren Wang even more resentful of his father. Fortunately, his body is one level higher than that of an ordinary person. Otherwise, even if he doesn't die from that blow, he probably would have to become a plant man for the rest of his life, unable to survive or die. I can't stay in the Devil's College world for the time being. This world is too dangerous for me now. Although the plot hasn't started yet, I'm sure that one day I will suddenly encounter some natural disaster, and then I will cry. With a moment of thought, the surface of the Ren King's body was immediately enveloped by a burst of blue light. A tall bronze door suddenly appeared in front of him. The blue door panel depicted various patterns of demons, angels, goddesses, and fairies, as well as clouds, rain, lightning, and blizzards, making the painting very complex. With just one glance, King Ren felt dizzy and disoriented. He quickly turned his gaze away and dared not look directly at the bronze gate again. This bronze gate is the highest god gate passed through by King Suiren. It is not only the masterpiece of the great god, but also has some other incredible abilities for convenience. But the specific ability, Renwang said that his current strength is weak and he cannot see more information. I don't know what the world behind the door will be, but I hope it's not a daily world of pitying fathers. Renwang let out a bitter smile. It's not that the daily world is not good, but in this low-level world, there are no special talents to contract. A group of ordinary people cannot enter Renwang's eyes, even if they used to really like this character, they cannot contract. The number of demon chess pieces is limited, and it is absolutely impossible to waste them on ordinary people. But if the world level is too high, that's not good either. Because the strength of the Ren King is currently too weak. When encountering a first or second level presence, one can still maneuver around and, with good luck, they may even be defeated. But once the world level is too high, such as the abnormal world where gods and Buddhas are everywhere in fantasy land and box court, it is also a kind of torment. It's best to have a world that's neither high nor low. Renwang prayed silently in his heart. Gently pushing open the bronze door, it seemed that the space inside the door was not in the same dimension as the space where I was located. Inside was a vast expanse of white, mixed with colorful light balls flying everywhere. Various colors gathered together, which was really beautiful. Renwang hesitated for a moment and began walking towards the bronze door. He extended his palm forward and touched the white world inside, feeling very warm. Then, there was a force of attraction, and before Renwang could make any movement, he let out a scream and swallowed him. After swallowing the Ren King, the bronze door trembled violently and slowly closed tightly. Boom boom. Boom boom. The door was completely closed. The patterns engraved with goddesses, angels, demons, and lightning clouds and rain suddenly emitted a brilliant blue light, and then the entire door body slowly transformed from a solid to a virtual shadow, finally transforming into glowing objects in the shape of blue particles, melting into the air, appearing exceptionally mysterious. The bronze gate completely disappeared, as if it had never appeared before, and the spacious room was filled with a strange silence. New books for collection, flowers for recommendation. Chapter 1. Corpse Soul Realm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Darkness, boundless darkness swept over. My whole body seems to be immersed in the cold ice and snow, unable to feel any warmth. Allow darkness to erode the body and surround the soul. Dark and profound, not the darkness brought by the night, but the deeper and more desperate darkness. A world without light. My whole head was in a daze, as if it had been vigorously stirred with chopsticks, turning into a pair of paste, and my thoughts were very confused. Difficulty opened his eyes, and Renwang's eyes were full of colorful colors. It wasn't until a few minutes later that the symptoms of dizziness gradually returned to normal, and he began to tilt his head and look around. Surrounded by a green hillside, I was lying on a green lawn, with dew and the fresh scent of grass clearly audible. But this state cannot be maintained for a long time because he feels really tired, even with his eyes open. He feels like he can't hold on for long and wants to sleep for a while longer. But why are you here? Renwang felt a moment of confusion. He crossed the world through the gate of the Supreme God, but after entering the door, he initially felt like he was wandering in a colorful tunnel. However, as he swam, he naturally lost consciousness and didn't even know when he had fainted. Fortunately, I have indeed successfully traveled to another world. The smell in the air is not right, different from the human world and the underworld in the demon university world, not in the same dimension. Ah, here it is. A pleasant and gentle voice appeared in my ears. Just before Renwang fell asleep again, I caught a glimpse of a young girl wearing white casual clothes walking quickly from a distance. Then, the girl shook him in an attempt to wake him up. But the Ren King, who was exhausted both physically and mentally, remained unshakable no matter how the girl shook her, and instead entered a state of sleep faster. A faint and elegant fragrance of flowers penetrated into the nose, gradually relaxing the tired expression of Renwang, and he lay soundly asleep in the embrace of the young girl. Opening his eyes, he felt like he had been sleeping for hundreds of years. Prince Ren slowly opened his eyes and sat up. I found myself covered in a soft white quilt, with a pleasant fragrance lingering on it. And the bed I sleep on cannot be considered a bed, but a low and yellow tatami bed. The house is also a single room, with only a few tables and chairs that are about to molt, and some daily tools placed in the corner of the wall. But these furniture are arranged very neatly. From here it can be seen that the owner of the house is a very serious, focused, and meticulous woman. Why is it a woman? When Renwang asked about the fragrance on the quilt, he had already guessed this. Moreover, when he first arrived in this world, the moment before he fainted, he clearly saw a young girl walking towards him, and the fragrance on his body was very similar to that on the blanket. He's a kind person. Renwang thought to himself. Bringing strangers home casually and resting them gently on one's own bed is no longer just a word for kindness. Should I say he's a bad guy? You're awake. A sweet and gentle voice rang out, and Renwang looked towards the door. She was a very thin and weak-looking girl with a very smooth and neat black hair, draped behind her head, and a few strands of hair hanging on her slightly bulging chest, adding a touch of tempting charm. She was wearing a simple white kimono, probably for a long time, so the colors on the kimono began to shift. Her skin is also very white, but not pale, but a healthy white and tender. Even from the critical eyes of Renwang, the beauty of this girl is among the best in the whole anime world. Renwang was stunned by the beauty of the young girl, but quickly realized and asked, "Are you?" "Ah, that day I saw a sudden white light falling from the mountain, so I quickly ran over to see what had happened, only to find you lying there. I was worried that you might catch a cold, so I took you home without authorization. I'm really sorry." Then, the girl nervously bent down and introduced herself. "I'm not talented, my name is Chiba Chihiro, please give me more guidance. I vaguely remember that when I came into this world, I did indeed transform into a beam of light and descend." So, the girl who was attracted by the white light generated by my arrival made sense. Otherwise, given the environment I was in at that time, it was a hillside wilderness with almost no visitors. If it weren't for this girl named Chiba Chihiro, I would probably still be smoking the cold wind in that haunted place now. From this point of view, the King of Ren wants to thank the girl well. "My name is King Beiwei Ren, please give me some advice." With a gentle smile on his face. Perhaps because she is somewhat shy or not good at spending time alone with boys, the girl named Qianshuan's face clearly turned red, giving off a touch of allure and allure. "By the way, haven't you consulted yet? What is this?" "Ah, this is the 3rd district of Luhun Street. Don't worry, the security here is very good." Thinking that Renwang was from another district, Qianshuan comforted him softly. The 3rd district of Luhun Street. Renwang tilted his head in his eyes and then thought of something in his mind. His eyes lit up and he said, "Luhun Street. Is this the corpse soul realm?" "Isn't it?" "Yeah, what's wrong?" Qianshuan looked at Renwang with some strange expression. "No, it's nothing." Suppressing his excited thoughts, Renwang quickly said he had nothing to do. "But from what we just talked about. Flowing Soul Street, Corpse Soul World. So, this is the world of death." "Well, it's called Qianshuan, right? May I ask, is there a god of death here?" To be safe, King Ren asked again. "That's right, but becoming a god of death is not easy. I heard that many people from the Flowing Soul Street sign up for enrollment at the Zhenyang Spiritual Art Academy every year, but very few people can enter and learn inside," Qianshuan said to the King of Ren while packing up his belongings. "Ha!" Silently breathed a sigh of relief, and Renwang was 100% certain that this was the world of Death God. The Death God profession, as well as the true Central Spiritual Art Academy, are well-known things. Although I haven't traveled to a world that suits my growth, if it were the world of death, it wouldn't be as bad as I imagined. Undoubtedly, the world of death can also be considered a relatively advanced world. Although it cannot be compared to the higher world where gods and demons are everywhere in Devil's College, it is also not comparable to the lower world. Whether it's a soul-slaying sword or something like a ghost path, they are all the powers that the King of Ren craves. Most importantly, these can all be obtained through learning. Of course, this prerequisite is to be able to enter the Zhenyang Lingshu Academy. If you can't enter the Zhenyang Lingshu Academy, then having too many ideas is absurd. During his travels, in order to better fit the new world, the Supreme Divine Gate specially improved his body to adapt to the rules of the world of death. Even if he doesn't enter the corpse soul realm normally, he can still practice the death god. But it's hard to say how far I can go. After all, talent is something that limits the growth of most people. Ren Wang doesn't think he's a peerless genius, he can learn anything in one fell swoop. To become stronger, one needs to work hard, and pay a price 10 or even 100 times higher than others. And then become stronger than anyone else. This is his ultimate goal. Without strength, there is no dignity. If he were not a waste, even if he had an illegitimate child, his father wouldn't have mercilessly expelled him from the Phoenix family, would he? So, strength is the most important. New books for collection, flowers for recommendation. Chapter 2. Absorbing Spirits. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The corpse soul realm is composed of spiritual beings, and even everything inside is inseparable from the energy material of spiritual beings. Lingshu roams around various places in the corpse soul realm. It can be said that as long as one has the intention, they can supplement and absorb Lingshu. However, not everyone can absorb spiritual children. The soul realm is the world of the dead. The soul that dies in this world, receiving a kind guidance, also known as becoming Buddha, can reach the realm of corpses and start a new life. Generally speaking, the soul does not feel hungry, so whether there is food in the corpse soul realm or not, providing life supply is unnecessary. But in fact, in the corpse soul realm, not only is there an abundant source of food, but also dead souls will feel hungry. Of course, not all flowing souls will feel hungry. Put it this way, 90% of the flowing souls are ordinary souls without any special abilities, while the remaining 10% are so-called elites who feel hungry and actively seek food. And the hungry flowing soul has the qualification to absorb spiritual offspring, which means it has the qualification to become a god of death. However, qualifications can only be qualifications. Whether one can become a formal god of death depends on their individual talents and efforts. There are 13 teams in the corpse soul realm, which are joined by the death god who has successfully graduated from the Zhenyang Spiritual Art Academy. Most Grim Reapers can only become miscellaneous cannon fodder, meaning they do not have a seat, while elites occupy the position of seat officials, representing the backbone of Grim Reapers. And the Vice Captain level Reaper is a very rare high-level combat power in the entire Jingling Court, 1 in 1,000. And above the Deputy Captain's Death God, there is also a Captain-level Death God, which is the top combat power of the entire corpse soul realm. Because it is a team of 13 teams, it has at least 13 Captain-level combat capabilities. However, Ren Wang, who has read the original work, said that this is not the entire essence of the corpse soul realm. The existence of the 0 team surpasses the 13th team, the 46th room, and many death nobility. That's the biggest trump card in the corpse soul realm. Any person who comes out has the total strength of all the death gods in the 13th team. According to the level evaluation information provided by the Supreme Divine Gate, the average captain level is a 5th level, and it is a 5th level lower level. For example, the captain of the first team, Yamamoto Motonari, and the members of the 0 team are both strong 6th level players. And death spirits such as vice captains and seat officials belong to the 4th order category. The vice captain level Reaper should have reached the pinnacle of the 4th level. 3 days have passed since awakening. Because she was a newcomer and unfamiliar with the place, after King Ren explained her situation, the young girl Qianshuan readily agreed to let King Ren stay. Although they lived under the same roof or with a peerless beautiful girl, the Prince of Ren had no bad thoughts. He is not a foolish man who can't walk when he sees a beautiful girl, and even a foolish man wouldn't exaggerate. He can't walk when he sees a beautiful girl. However, it is also necessary to avoid suspicion between men and women when sleeping at night. Renwang would sleep on the floor every night, leaning against the door and letting Qianshuan sleep in bed. According to the original understanding, the smaller the area code of Luhun Street, the more perfect the public security is. This is Area 3 of Luhun Street, and there is basically no danger. However, accidents cannot be ruled out, so the Ren King sleeping by the door still has the task of guarding the door. In fact, the days on the entire flowing Soul Street are very boring. Apart from sleeping, it's just daydreaming, because most flowing souls don't need to consume too much food, only those who have become death god qualifications will consume a large amount of food. But being able to become the soul of death is still a minority. However, it is worth mentioning that after 3 days of interaction, the girl Chihiro eats a large amount of food every day. The King of Ren knew that she was a flowing soul with the qualification to become a god of death. However, he was puzzled why the other party didn't apply to Zhenyang Lingshu Academy and instead stayed here on Luhun Street. Perhaps there are some unspoken secrets or a dislike for the work of the Grim Reaper. Ren Wang thought to himself. Renwang Jun, I'm out now. I need to take good care of my hometown, said Qianshuan in a soft voice. Because I have to eat a lot of food every day to supplement myself, I have to go out and find a job in order to have money to buy food. Got it, be careful. Ren Wang nodded and parted ways with Qian Sun, leaving him alone to guard the door. Sitting in the house, Ren Wang carefully communicated with the spirit scattered in the air, guiding step by step towards his body. This is the homework he must do every day, and basically every guidance will last for 5 or 6 hours before he finishes. But today's situation is a bit special. Maintaining the state of absorbing spirit seeds, after about an hour, the King of Ren clearly felt the changes in his body. A warm thing filled all directions of his body, and his whole body was as light as a swallow, as if suddenly becoming agile. At this moment, his stomach growled, causing him to suddenly freeze. Is this really? Thinking of something, the face of the Ren King showed a look of ecstasy. Because during the time of crossing, the body is transformed by the Supreme Divine Gate, which is suitable for the rules of the world of death and will not be rejected. So, of course, within the realm of the corpse soul, he would not feel hungry. And now, his stomach growled and he naturally felt a sense of hunger. Isn't that proof that he has the qualification to become a god of death? After becoming the god of death, it means that he can have legitimate access to abilities such as the soul-slaying blade, instantaneous steps, and ghost path. So, Ren Wanfei quickly searched the room for food to fill his stomach. After a while, he couldn't find a piece of mantu crumbs. I just remembered that all the food at home had been wiped out by Chihiro. That's why Chihiro goes out to work every day. Forget it, let's go out and eat. The Ren King, who didn't want to go hungry, made this decision directly. He doesn't have a habit of abusing himself, and supplementing food also greatly promotes the absorption of spiritual energy. New books for collection, flowers for recommendation. Chapter 3. Plan for cultivating beautiful girls. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ren Wang came out of an alley and was about to walk towards a bakery when he suddenly saw a familiar figure. He quickly withdrew his feet and looked at it with a fixed gaze. And someone who was being watched by the King of Ren tiptoed to a fruit stall. While the boss turned his back to her, he quickly inspected both sides and saw that no one was paying attention. He quickly picked up 2 apples and put them in his arms, pretending to pass by the fruit stall as if nothing had happened. Even if I didn't see her directly, I knew that her heart was probably in turmoil at this moment. Upon seeing her turn onto a remote path, King Ren immediately followed behind and patted her shoulder twice. "Ah!" she exclaimed in panic, then hugged her head, closed her eyes, turned around and kept bowing to apologize. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take it, I'm just too hungry. Let me go this time, I won't dare again next time." She was afraid of being beaten and covered her head tightly. "What are you doing?" Ren Wang asked with some amusement. "Ha!" The girl raised her head and kowtowed, looking stunned. She then patted her chest, breathed a sigh of relief, and said, "It's Prince Ren. You scared me to death." "Ha! I saw you stealing just now," he said. "Ah haha, this." She was originally an extremely introverted girl, but when she was discovered stealing something shameful, her delicate face instantly turned into a red apple, very tempting. "This question is a bit excessive, but I remember Qinshuan, did you say you wanted to go to work? Is that kind of action just now also considered one of the contents of work?" Ren Wang's face was somewhat smirk, as if teasing the girl, as if watching her nervous and shy appearance would make her heart very happy. "That's not it, I'm just. It seemed like something difficult to say." Chihiro sighed and smiled bitterly, "It's because my stomach is too hungry. Although I eat a lot every day, my appetite has suddenly increased for some reason lately, and I'm also very distressed. It is clear that other wandering souls can persist for many days only by eating a mantu, or even stop eating food for a month, or drink a little water to live safely. But her physique seems to be different from those of Lu Hun. Since she entered the corpse soul world and settled down in Lu Hun Street, she has eaten a lot of mantu every day to barely fill her stomach. Now, a few mantu can only fill in a quarter of hunger, right? For this reason, Chihiro has complained more than once about why he was born different from others. When she first arrived, she had not yet found a stable job and could only steal food. Although I successfully stole food for the first time, I was chased more than 10 miles by someone. If it weren't for luck, the other person's physical exhaustion, I might have had my legs broken. With her first experience, Chihiro naturally dared not steal food again. After all, luck is a very mysterious thing, and she cannot guarantee that she will successfully escape pursuit every time. So finding a job to support oneself is the right path. But recently her appetite has increased, and even if the wages earned from work are used to buy food, they cannot meet her stomach consumption needs. What else? Judging from her appearance, there was an indescribable hint. Qinshuan blushed and said softly, "It's mainly the boss at the workplace who looks at me in a strange way. How can I put it, it's a bit disgusting and very vulgar. I think staying there again may cause some bad things, so I went to refuse work today. But the boss said something very outrageous and kicked me out. I didn't pay today's wages, so I had to go." Speaking of which, King Ren has almost understood the situation. Although forced into helplessness, if theft becomes a habit, it will also be very troublesome. That's to say, I have to worry and worry every time, worried that the other person will find out. But I'm really too hungry," Qinshuan said wrongly. "Let's just consider it as accommodation expenses," Ren Wang suddenly said. "What? This thing should be worth some money, right?" Ren Wang took out a golden pocket watch from his pocket and threw it into the girl's hand. The young girl Qinshuan hurriedly caught it and carefully glanced at it. Suddenly, her eyes lit up and she looked at the King of Ren in surprise, asking, "Is this a gold watch?" It was something I had before I crossed over." It was something I had on me before entering the corpse soul realm. I didn't expect it to be carried with me all the time, but it can also solve the urgent situation in front of me, right? But wouldn't this be too expensive? With this exquisite craftsmanship and the purity of gold, you can definitely buy enough food for a year. At first, there was a bit of hesitation, but the thought of being able to live a comfortable life for a year disappeared instantly, and there was a clear expression of emotion on his face. "It's just an external object. Compared to you, this kind of thing seems insignificant, isn't it?" Ah. Chihiro blushed again, twisting his body and shyly looking at Prince Ren, whispering, "Prince Ren, this is too fast. We only know each other for a few days, isn't it? This kind of thing should be discussed after careful contact, isn't it better? Although Prince Ren is very handsome and has a good temper, but... What are you thinking? I just want to repay your kindness in providing me with accommodation. I have no interest in your washboard physique." Ren Wang pursed his lips. Ren Wang Jun. Qian Sun gave him a shy and angry glare, his cute little mouth rising up in anger. "That, I'll leave first." Realizing that the atmosphere was not right, Ren Wang decided to dodge first. Looking at the distant figure of King Ren, Qianshuan patted his swollen two balls, snorted lightly, and coquettishly said, "Even though it's quite big, you have to say something about the washboard. King Ren is really terrible." As she spoke, her face blushed again and a hint of sweetness appeared in her eyes. New books for collection, flowers for recommendation. Chapter 4. Swordsmanship. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the simple wooden house, Ren Wang was drinking tea while eating hot mantou he had just bought. But this action clearly made another girl in the room feel unhappy and angrily asked, "Why are you eating too?" Ren Wang gave her a white glance and said, "Isn't that very normal? I'm also a normal person. If I don't eat, everyone will feel hungry, right? Didn't you just drink water to make a living? I remember that after King Ren lived here, he did provide some clean water to drink every day, which could sustain his life activities. But now it breaks the girl's perspective, why not surprise her? Because it has absorbed spiritual seeds and improved one's physical condition, it is necessary to supplement food," said Ren Wanli naturally. Qianshuan's eyes flickered with a hint of confusion. What is Lingzi? Why do we need to supplement food when absorbing spiritual seeds? However, this cannot change the fact that there is an additional source of food consumption in the family. This way, the money obtained from the sale of the gold watch could have lasted for a year. Now it seems that I am very optimistic. Qianshuan lowered his head in frustration, it seemed that food was indeed a big problem. After eating, due to the limitations of his time, there was almost no entertainment, so Chihiro went to bed early to rest. And Ren Wang also spread a mat on the ground and fell asleep quietly. Winter has passed and autumn has come, and the cold and summer have come and gone. The king of Ren has been in this world for 10 years without realizing it. To be honest, if it were an ordinary human, 10 years would be considered a relatively long age. For the longevity of the Ren king, 10 years is just a snap. Anyway, even if the king of Ren has half human lineage, the other half is undoubtedly pure blood demon lineage, which is enough to make the king of Ren separate from the category of ordinary humans. Although it may not live as long as a true demon, living for thousands of years is still stress-free. And as the level of strength reaches level 6, life will undergo an evolution, and its lifespan will naturally increase again, even becoming an immortal species. As long as it is not due to death in battle, it can continue to exist. Therefore, even after 10 years, the appearance of the Ren King has not changed at all. The only thing that has changed is that he feels that his temperament has become more mature, his sharpness is introverted, and he is simple and unadorned. Sitting on the bench, sleeping outside and basking in the sun, because it is early spring, the wind blowing from afar is gentle, and the sunshine is not as hot as summer, but a warm and intoxicating feeling. Watching the young girl practicing swordsmanship with a wooden knife not far away, dressed in an unchanged white kimono and holding the knife in an exceptionally beautiful posture, it has great appreciation value. Of course, it's not just about appreciating her wooden knife. Every strike and move she makes is not just a random slash. The structure is rigorous, the movement is flexible, and the momentum is sharp and steady, reaching a high level of harmony. According to Chihiro, before she came to the corpse soul realm, she had always had the experience of learning swordsmanship in this world. However, When she first arrived in the corpse soul realm, she abandoned her swordsmanship in this world in order to make a living. However, with the help of the hidden tycoon Renwang, he was able to bring out magical things made of gold every time, exchange them for money, and buy enough food to survive. Just a few years ago, Chihiro, who didn't think he had much to do, started practicing swordsmanship and has been practicing it ever since. In fact, there's nothing wrong with this. Think carefully about a beautiful girl, she always needs to learn some self-defense skills, although I don't know if using a wooden knife to defend herself is useful in places like the corpse soul realm. But being able to intuitively appreciate the elegant sword-dancing posture of the young girl, Renwang felt that he had not suffered any losses in his lifetime. Moreover, over the past decade, the two of them have been facing each other day and night, and their relationship has rapidly heated up. Although it has not reached the level of a lover, it is only a layer of paper missing. Above the so-called friendship, the feeling of unfulfilled lovers is just like this. Pink cherry blossoms drifted from a distance, swaying in the wind. The girl in a white kimono was practicing swordsmanship quietly and calmly, without noticing the pink cherry blossoms spinning around her, giving off a rather elegant and refined feeling. Originally a relatively pure and elegant girl, she suddenly became a charming beauty. So, adapting to the situation is also very important. Qianshu and Sauce, if I want to learn swordsmanship, is that okay? King Ren suddenly asked. Upon careful consideration, the 4 skills of the Grim Reaper. Slaying the Ghost Fist. Are both slaying and swordsmanship. So learning swordsmanship now is to prepare for the future. The girl practicing swordsmanship stopped immediately upon hearing the shout, looked at the Prince of Ren helplessly and with a headache, and said, "It's not possible to say that. Without talent, there is no talent. Even if the Prince of Ren works hard, he cannot practice swordsmanship well. TSK, the genius's mockery of the mediocre." The previous Chihiro Sauce wouldn't have said such sad words, said the king of Renwei. It's not like you say that every time, but after persisting for less than 2 months, you give up voluntarily. Talent is one aspect, and coupled with lack of effort, so Renwang Jun is still half-skilled in swordsmanship, sometimes unable to hit his target with a swing. Qianshuan pinned the wooden knife to his waist and took a light step like a Yamato caressing his son, giving him the illusion of being immersed in a spring breeze, as if immersed in a mirror of water and moon, attracted by that pure and elegant beauty, until it was swallowed up. I really hate you guys who claim to be geniuses. I envy you too much. No, it's really being hated. In recent years, he has indeed made many requests for Chihiro to teach him swordsmanship. Although he has made efforts, his swordsmanship talent is really poor. Even Chihiro, who has a gentle personality, can't stand it. It's said that there's no such thing, he's not a genius, he just works a little harder in his daily life. Qianshuan looked at him with dissatisfaction. Here we go again, the usual expression of genius. Renwang responded briefly. Forget it, I don't care about you, Chihiro said angrily, turning around and walking to the side. At this moment, the king of Ren suddenly launched a surprise attack, reaching out to embrace the delicate and soft waist of the girl, pulling her into his arms, and holding her snow-white and delicate chin with the other hand, lifting it slightly. Ah! Surprisingly, Chihiro didn't stop him, he was just a little startled and quickly regained his composure. His face was slightly flushed, and his black and white water spirit eyes were hiding shyness and joy. That is called longing and longing for love. Well, the stench of love. Qianshuan Sauce is so cute, be my woman. Renwang boldly declared, not jokingly. What are you talking about, pervert? They haven't agreed yet. Before she could finish speaking, her soft and floral lips were blocked by the young man in front of her. As the kiss was about to die, the girl's face felt like she had been living in boiling water for a day and a night, emitting exaggerated steam and turning extremely red. Real. What? Infernal. Abnormal. Shameless, said the girl, but she still obediently lay in the boy's warm and broad embrace, her heart racing, almost jumping out of her body. However, the girl thought to herself and said softly. "But what?" Ren Wang asked with some interest. "If you dare to abandon me in the future, I will kill you and then commit suicide." With such a threatening statement, the girl's eyes were unprecedentedly serious. Ren Wang's face was covered in a bean-sized cold sweat, and he felt like he was in big trouble. "Hello coach, is it still possible to withdraw now?" Chapter 5. Becoming the God of Death. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ren Wang is a person with a very clear purpose. He came to the world of death through the gate of the highest God, with the sole purpose of becoming stronger. In the world of the Grim Reaper, the only way to become stronger is to join the Zhenyang Spiritual Art Academy, liberate the soul-slaying sword within oneself, and learn the magical ghost path. Chihiro Sauce, have you ever thought about leaving this place? On this day, King Ren found a young girl still practicing swordsmanship and asked such a question. Leaving. The young girl, who was originally holding the knife very steadily, immediately shifted her knife to a very wrong position. She was stunned and turned her head to look at the Prince of Ren, attempting to find something on his young and handsome face. "Why do you want to leave? Is this not good here? Or did I do something wrong?" "No, it's okay. Since I've decided to be with Prince Ren, I will definitely make good changes. So, please don't leave." Looking at the girl's frantic pleading, for a moment, Ren Wang felt like he had done something wrong. Chihiro is an ordinary woman who only wants a peaceful life. Sure enough, shouldn't I involve innocent people? Ren Wang asked himself with some suspicion in his heart. But the next moment, his heart became firm again. No. Qianshuan is a person who pursues simplicity, and why is he not like that? Is there really someone in this world who can be content with being ordinary? The answer is no. Neither the world of death nor the original world of demonic universities can be considered safe. Maybe I don't even know how to die in the next moment. And with his possession of the supreme divine gate and mutated devil chess pieces, it is destined that he cannot always live a mundane life. Pifu is innocent and harbors a guilty conscience. The leakage of either the supreme god gate or the mutated demon chess pieces can cause greed and killing intent among many people. There are many saints in this world, but equally, there are also many schemers with malicious intentions. He works hard to become stronger, but it's just a little guarantee for his life. This is not about principles, it's about survival. If possible, he also wants a peaceful and happy life instead of living a life of anxiety every day. What are you thinking? I said to leave. To become the Grim Reaper. Touching Qianshuan's little head, Ren Wang sighed and said. Becoming a god of death. Qianshuan felt down for some reason and whispered, "But then, we're going to part ways, aren't we? Why don't you just come with me? I've already told you, I won't abandon you." Ren Wang smiled. But can I also become a Grim Reaper like this? Why not? My words may not be accurate, but if you report to Zhenyang Lingshu Academy in Qianshuan, you probably have a 100% pass rate. Ren Wang concluded with certainty. This is not an exaggeration, but Chihiro truly possesses such talent. To be honest, sometimes the King of Ren can't help but envy why Qian Sun's talent is so high. This can be seen from the usual appetite. The food that Chihiro eats every day is equivalent to the amount of Ren Wang's 3 days, which may not be enough, but also shows how excellent Chihiro's talent is. Really. But I'm just an ordinary soul, right? Chihiro, who had already lost heart, showed hope in his eyes. Upon hearing this, King Ren fell silent and looked at Chihiro with a very eerie gaze, a bit subtle. What's going on? The person being stared at was a bit scared, and Chihiro asked weakly. Although you thought so a long time ago, Chihiro, shouldn't you always think that you are an ordinary wandering soul? Isn't it? Qian Sun's face appeared puzzled. I only eat and sleep every day, and then I eat and sleep. After arriving at the corpse soul realm, I always do this. Isn't this a very normal behavior? I am just an ordinary and ultimate flowing soul. Ren Wang twitched his lips and patted his head, appearing speechless. He couldn't help but laugh and cry, saying, Qianshu and Sauce, do you think ordinary souls would be like you? No, they would be like us, requiring a large amount of food every day to barely sustain life activities. You have never questioned why many souls only need to drink a little water to live, and you really haven't considered these things at all. This. That. Chihiro twisted his beautiful and moving body, appearing embarrassed and saying, I'm sorry, I really haven't thought about these things. Ha! You really don't know what to say. Ren Wang rolled his eyes and was shocked by what Qianshuan said. Even if the brain is slow, there must be a limit. According to normal thinking, when everyone needs water to survive, but only oneself needs a lot of food to survive, just a little attention will reveal one's uniqueness. Besides, no one would foolishly go and drink water if they had something to eat or change, even if they were looking for abuse. However, now it seems that Chihiro has no such consciousness and still measures himself based on the standards of a living person in this world. No wonder the king of Ren is so speechless. Is this related to becoming a god of death? Qianshuan hesitated and asked. Ren Wang took a deep breath and solemnly said. Listen, I should tell you from the beginning. Everything in the so-called corpse soul realm is made up of an energy substance called spiritual suns, including the souls living in this corpse soul realm, which are all made up of spiritual suns. For ordinary souls, it is enough to absorb some free spiritual suns from the air or drink some water made up of spiritual suns every day. However, there are also some exceptions to this. Listening to Ren Wang's serious narration, Qianshuan seemed to realize something and whispered, souls like me and Ren Wang Jun who rely on food to survive. With an uncertain tone. The king of Ren affirmed and replied, that's right. That's because our physique is special, and we can also be said to have extraordinary talent. The free spirit in the air and the spirit in the water cannot meet our needs, so we must eat food to maintain our existence. Therefore, we are a special group with spiritual power and have the qualification to become the god of death. Is that right? It turns out like this. Qianshuan, who had a sudden realization, finally understood what was going on. Although there isn't much joy, if you can become the Grim Reaper, you can always be with the King of Ren. Give it a try and become the Grim Reaper. A resolute expression flashed through Chihiro's black pupils. I have already inquired about it. 3 days later will be the enrollment day for Zhenyang Lingshu Academy. We will take a night off and depart tomorrow. Yes. Qianshuan, who already had a sense of belonging, naturally followed suit. New books for collection, flowers for recommendation. Chapter 6. Zhenyang Lingshu Academy. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Jingling Court is the political and military center of the entire corpse soul realm, as well as the residence of all the death gods within the corpse soul realm. Inside the Jingling Court, there are countless types of buildings, big and small, such as the Central 46 Room, the 13th Division of the Protectorate, the Confession Palace, and the Double Pole Hill. Of course, among all the buildings, the most unique one is the Zhenyang Spiritual Art Academy, known as the Cradle of Death. Zhenyang Lingshu Academy was founded more than 2,000 years ago by the current captain of the 1st Division of the 13th Division of the Protectorate, who is also the commander of the main team, Yamamoto Liaozhai Shigekuo. The fundamental idea is to cultivate the younger generation of the Grim Reaper, become the new generation of the 13th Division of the Guardians of the Court, and maintain the safety of the entire corpse soul realm and the quiet spirit court through covert maneuvers and ghostly beings. The most important of these is to consolidate the rule of the Spirit King. For people in the realm of corpses and souls, or more precisely, the god of death, the Spirit King is the supreme ruler and enjoys the privileges of an emperor. Even the arrogant and domineering death god nobles dare not engage in any behavior that denigrates or offends the Spirit King. But for outsiders like Ren Wang, the so-called Ling Wang is just like that. Only by becoming slightly stronger can one be deified by others. In many worlds, there are cases of this kind. Just say the infinite cute god in the demon high school world. Ahem, I'm wrong, it's the infinite dragon god Orpheus, representing the infinite cycle of the tailed snake, and together with the Great Red, it's known as the strongest in the world. Its overwhelming power is almost despairing. It is estimated that the presence of the Spirit King may be a commodity that could be instantly killed. Not to mention, it is revealed in the original work of the Grim Reaper that the Spirit King has been dead for many years. Now is just a symbol of boredom. Only these ignorant gods of death are still in the dark, and their loyal targets have long been hanging without even knowing. Of course, all of this has nothing to do with the Ren King. The Zhenyang Lingshu Academy, surrounded by a huge white city wall, also has a white stone gate blocking people from moving forward. Because today is the day when Zhenyang Lingshu Academy starts enrolling students, this white stone door is wide open, appearing extremely magnificent and spectacular. Ren Wang brought Chihiro here, but Ren Wang felt average. After all, he used to live in the underworld, and as a member of the Phoenix family, even an abandoned son had seen even greater buildings. However, it was obvious that Chihiro was suddenly intimidated by this tall building, and his originally calm face seemed to have added a touch of nervousness. At the entrance, a large number of people gathered here, whether it was nobles dressed in bright clothes or simple civilians, all gathered here, bustling and extraordinary. Even if it's today's enrollment, there are too many people. Ren Wang sighed and tightly held on to Qian Sun's fair and smooth little hand, looking at the invisible team ahead, feeling hopeless. It's okay, if Prince Ren is tired, you can rest next to me for a while. I'll be here, said Qinshuan with understanding. Fool, you're so beautiful. What if someone who doesn't have long eyes bullies you? Besides, I'm just waiting for a few hours. I'm not that fragile yet. After listening, Qinshuan blushed and nodded obediently. The team looks very long, but it also ends quickly. After all, recruiting students is not a difficult task, and it can basically take 10 seconds to get one person done. And not everyone can go in either. It's already fortunate to have 1 or 2 qualified guys out of 10. Enrollment testing, in other words, is a test of mental pressure. If you pass the level of spiritual pressure, you will naturally be able to enter the Zhenyang Lingshu Academy to study. As for the other items, such as Ghost Road, Baida, etc., I'm sorry, they are not Reaper, how could they be learned? At most, nobles have this privilege and have learned a little at home. Therefore, spiritual pressure is the only criterion for checking whether it is qualified. First-class spiritual pressure refers to souls with little spiritual power, which can be found everywhere in the realm of corpse souls. Not qualified. Second-class spiritual pressure, this kind of soul will be slightly stronger, but only limited to this. Not qualified. Third-class spiritual pressure is an excellent level in the soul. I barely reached the qualification line, but when I entered the Zhenyang Spiritual Art Academy, I was fortunate enough to become a Grim Reaper. At most, it was cannon fodder, and at worst, I couldn't graduate and was directly expelled. The 4th level spiritual pressure is the elite, with a 70% chance of graduating from the Zhenyang Spiritual Art Academy and becoming the official god of death. Most of the students in Zhenyang Lingshu Academy are at this level. The 5th level spiritual pressure is a watershed realm, and even the death gods at the rank of Shiguan in the 13th team are mostly at this level of spiritual pressure. Belonging to the backbone of the Grim Reaper. 6th class spiritual pressure, the powerful spiritual pressure of the vice captain level god of death, placed in the 13th team, is also a top figure. Since its establishment, Zhenyang Lingshu College has admitted almost a few students at this level. having the qualification to challenge the captain-level Grim Reaper. The 7th level spiritual pressure is the true captain-level spiritual pressure, which is a natural captain-level god of death. Since the establishment of Zhenyang Lingshu Academy, the number of students admitted at this level has been 0. 8th class spiritual pressure, which is only possessed by a small number of powerful captains of the 13th division of the guarding court, is extremely rare in quantity, and none of them are the top combat effectiveness of the jingling court. 9th level spiritual pressure, the head of the 13th team, Yamamoto Liaozhai Chongwa, is at this level. With the soul-slaying sword and swastika, the entire corpse soul realm can be evaporated. It can be imagined how terrifying it is. In the extreme position of the Grim Reaper. The members of the Zero team guarding the Lingwang Palace are also at this level of spiritual pressure. After waiting for several hours, as the team continued to shrink, it was finally close to the two of Ren Wang and Qian Sun. 2nd class spiritual pressure, unqualified. 3rd class spiritual pressure. You can barely be considered qualified. 2nd class spiritual pressure, unqualified. 4th class spiritual pressure, qualified. 1 moment of spiritual pressure. The examiner suddenly fell silent and grabbed the person in front of him who came to respond, roaring angrily, "Are you here to play monkey tricks? Get out of here." With a forceful swing of his arm, he was thrown 17 or 18 meters away and smashed a big hole on the ground. Next the examiner shouted coldly. Ren Wang gave Qinshuan a reassuring look and arrived at the examiner's table. Apart from a pile of paper, there was only a strange groove instrument on it. Put your hand into the groove, and then use all your strength to deliver spiritual power. It will automatically determine your spiritual pressure level, the examiner said patiently. Ren Wang nodded and placed his hand in the groove of the instrument, inputting spiritual power. Immediately, the electronic watch on the instrument flipped wildly, and a huge spiritual power leaked out of Ren Wang's body, causing everyone around him except Chihiro to step back uncontrollably. 6, 6, 6, and so on. Spiritual pressure. The admissions examiner, who was originally looking indifferent, immediately swallowed his saliva and shouted excitedly. How could you not be excited? This is the 6th level spiritual pressure, the vice captain level spiritual pressure, with the potential to advance to the captain level Grim Reaper. What is your name? The examiner warmly stood up from the chair and asked with a smile. King Ren smiled humbly and said, "Please take good care of me, Moon King Ren." Definitely. The examiner was even more delighted when he saw the humble appearance of King Ren. There must have been a talented figure who could handle it this year. After all, throughout the day, most of them are 3rd or 4th class spiritual pressure, while 5th class is very rare, only a few dozen. And the 6th level spiritual pressure, placed in previous enrollment, is a seed-level genius that needs to be well cultivated to become the top combat force of the jingling court. Since 20 years ago, several captains and vice-captains of the 13th team were missing, we can finally make up for the vacancy. Don't worry, Jinglingting will never treat you unfairly. Here, fill in your information. Yes, Ren Wang respectfully filled out the information form, but his heart was not as calm as it appeared. Upon hearing the examiner's words just now, 20 years ago, 10 years before I first came to this world, a large number of captains and deputy captains of the 13th team were vacant. According to the plot of the Death God, it was a memory chapter from 110 years ago where Aizen conducted a virtual experiment and forced away Urahara Hisuke, Shaifenju Yaichi, Hirako Masako, and others. The attempt to get his fingers on the broken jade also quietly began in the dark. And there are still 90 years left until the protagonist, Ichigo Kurosaki, begins to embark on the path of death. 90 years is barely enough. King Ren murmured to himself, with a strange gleam in his eyes. After filling out the information form, hand it over to the examiner, who will then fill in the class and dormitory assigned by Ren Wang on it, and then hand it over to Ren Wang. So, amidst the envy and jealousy of the people around him, Ren Wang stood very obediently on the side, as if waiting for something. The examiner was certainly puzzled, but did not ask much. After all, geniuses always have privileges, don't they? Just as the king of Ren retreated to contemplate the matter, a storm of spiritual power swept over him, causing the entire instrument for testing spiritual pressure to tremble violently. The grooves condensed an incredibly strong light that seemed to have exceeded a certain limit, and the tester could not achieve the suppression effect. It turned into a shining white beam soaring straight up into the sky. This beam of light pierced straight into the sky, causing all the death gods in the jingling court to notice this scene. They only sensed it from a distance, but also felt the extremely terrifying sense of oppression, revealing a look of shock. There was a hint of familiarity inside, followed by the examiner's even more exaggerated shouts. 7th or 7th level spiritual pressure, this is captain level spiritual pressure, what the hell? Looking at the elegant and somewhat shy girl in front of me, the examiner's face was filled with extreme shock and fear. On the other hand, Ren Wang gave a bitter smile, not only sighing, but also exclaiming in various ways. At the same time, his face also showed an expression of, as expected. I am a 6th level spiritual pressure, and there is no reason why Qinshuan's spiritual pressure will be lower than myself. At the lowest estimate, Chihiro's spiritual pressure at this moment is more than 5 times his own. As for the students who came around to participate in the selection, they probably even gave up the feeling of jealousy. The level difference is too much, and they are not opponents on the same level. 7th class spiritual pressure, a natural captain level figure. For collection, for flowers, for recommendations. Chapter 7. Class 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Jingling Court, a team building. How many years have passed, have there been geniuses of this level again? Feeling the terrifying spiritual pressure concentrated in the direction of the Zhenyang Lingshu Academy, the commander of the team, Shan Benyuan Liaozhai Chongguo, who was carefully meditating in the team building, suddenly opened his eyes and a glimmer of light appeared. The tea placed on the low table in front of him rippled in waves, like his mood, becoming very restless. If reaching the 6th level of spiritual pressure can be said to be a once-in-century phenomenon, then the existence of the 7th level of spiritual pressure can be said to be a once-in-millennium phenomenon. It's not enough to describe it in terms of shocking the world and shocking the world. 5th team building, courtyard. The man wearing glasses, dressed in the captain's feather jacket, had a gentle smile on his face. When he saw the white light column in the sky and the spiritual pressure coming from it, he couldn't take it lightly. He couldn't help but show an interesting smile and whispered. Among the students of this class, there seems to be an amazing guy, isn't it, Silver? Ah, what a terrifying new generation. At this point, it's already 7th level spiritual pressure. You need to be careful, Captain Blue Dye. The young man standing behind him, with a fox-like smile and a surprised tone, made people wonder what he was thinking inside. You're right, you must be careful. If it doesn't work for me, it's better to eliminate this kind of enemy as soon as possible. Aizen still had a gentle and friendly expression on her face, but a cold and murderous intent flashed in her eyes. Silver touched the soul-slaying blade placed on his waist and slightly clenched it. At the same time, the 13th team and the aristocratic region are sending people and horses to rush towards the direction of the Zhenyang Lingshu Academy to see who has the qualifications for such spiritual pressure. This kind of talent must be recruited. At the entrance of the Zhenyang Lingshu Academy, whether it was the flowing souls who came to participate in the assessment, the commoners passing by the door, or the nobles who thought they were superior, all looked dull. As for the official Grim Reaper who was maintaining order nearby, as well as several other admissions examiners, they were all shocked and unable to maintain their original calmness. 7th class spiritual pressure. This is a 7th class spiritual pressure. If the 6th level spiritual pressure has a high possibility of becoming a captain level death god in the future, then the soul with the 7th level spiritual pressure qualification is equivalent to a natural captain level death god. As long as it does not die prematurely halfway, it can become a captain 100%. A person who is 100% captain level Grim Reaper suddenly appears, and they are also students in the same class. How can we not let those ordinary Grim Reapers and students go crazy? Is it really fake? Deceiving. Deceiving people, right? This is a 7th level spiritual pressure, it must be deceiving, isn't it? Although it may be a bit self-deception, there is never a shortage of people in this world who look down on those with higher talents than themselves. Especially the nobility. Unfortunately, this is a fact, a bloody and ironclad fact. Cannot change. Several examiners can already see that the students of this class will probably live in shadow forever, unable to lift their heads. The examiner who assessed Qianshuan didn't even let Qianshuan take action on his own. He enthusiastically asked and helped Qianshuan fill out all the information, humbly handing it to Qianshuan. Seeing this scene, Ren Wang's eyes twitched a bit. As for this, at least I am also a person with 6th class spiritual pressure qualifications. Although I am not as good as 7th class spiritual pressure, is it okay to be a genius? Are you not afraid of being accused of using power for personal gain by treating you differently? Let's go, Chihiro. Yes, Prince Ren. Upon hearing Prince Ren's call, Chihiro hid behind him like a little woman, gentle like a cute kitten, with a happy expression on her face. She followed him as he strolled into the Zhenyang Spiritual Art Academy. Kaka. Originally, seeing Qianshuan's qualifications and her beautiful appearance naturally resonated with countless male compatriots, wanting to kiss her. However, this painting of Chihiro clearly tells everyone that he already has a master of famous flowers. Therefore, many people make heartbreaking noises in their hearts, lamenting that they are indeed suitable for silently masturbating on their own, and that things like losers attacking goddesses only exist in fairy tales. Jinglingting, Zhenyang Lingshu Academy. There is a sign hanging outside the classroom with the words, Class 1, Grade 1 written in black. There are a total of 6 grades in Zhenyang Lingshu Academy, from 1st grade to 6th grade, which is known as the 60-year system. That's right, don't assume it's a 6-year program just because you're in 6th grade. After all, people in the corpse soul realm generally have a long lifespan, and the Grim Reaper is not easy to become. The skills that need to be learned cannot be without hard training and the accumulation of time. 10 years per grade may seem like a long time, but for the Grim Reaper, it's basically just a blink of an eye and it passes quickly. So it is known that in the plot, Shimaru In only graduated from the Zhenyang Spiritual Art Academy in 1 year. Although he does not deny that his talent is indeed terrifying, even if there was no 6th level spiritual pressure at that time, he was still one of the best in the 5th level spiritual pressure. Being able to graduate from Zhenyang Lingshu Academy for 1 year is probably just a minor subject, as one's ability has reached the level of a formal reaper. The most common people in this world are ordinary people, not geniuses. The rules of the 60-year system are only intended to serve the ideals of the majority of people. In each grade, there is also a distinction between elite classes and regular classes. Class 1, Class 2, Class 3 are elite classes, and the remaining 4 classes will become regular classes from now on. People who can enter Class 1, Class 2, or Class 3 must have at least a 5th level of spiritual pressure. Of course, there are also nobles who ignore the rules, even if they are 4th class spiritual pressure, they will be recruited into the elite class. Are you talking about fairness? There has never been anything fair in this world, only bad luck can be blamed. Moreover, due to their good bloodline inheritance and systematic cultivation when they were young, the nobility rarely had a 4th level spiritual pressure, while the majority had a 5th level spiritual pressure. They were able to enter the elite class for learning, and it was not because of any privilege. At this moment, in Class 1 of the 1st grade, the teaching teacher is standing in front of the podium, looking at the students in the class with satisfaction. There are a total of 40 people sitting together in pairs. When they observe Ren Wang and Qian Sun sitting in the last row by the window, their expressions are obviously more satisfied. Starting from today, I will be the class leader of Class 1, Seiji Oshima. Like you, I will continue to take you up to 6th grade until each of you graduates. Then there was a lengthy speech by the mentor named Seiji Oshima, which lasted for about an hour without any decrease in interest. Just as everyone was about to doze off, Ren Wang and Chihiro sat upright, maintaining a serious listening attitude, which made Oshima Shinji even more excited. He seemed to want to show off in front of these two talented students and once again ravaged everyone for 2 hours before ending his speech with a lackluster mood. If it weren't for the bell ringing after the last class in the morning, I estimate we could have talked for a few more hours. And as the main culprits, King Ren and Chihiro, both of them, faced resentment from the entire class, new books for collection, flowers for recommendation. Chapter 8. Ghost Path Cultivation. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. It has to be said that the area of Zhenyang Lingshu Academy is really vast. The facilities inside are also very complete. This includes dozens of classrooms across 6 grades, where theoretical classes are taught and class meetings and other related activities are held. The college library is used for students to access information and learn from their experiences. It also contains reference books on combat skills, and even records of ghost paths. Of course, the ghost paths in the big library are all very low level, with only the broken paths and bound paths before the 40th, while the return paths that interest the King of Ren are not recorded in the big library. In addition, there is also a kendo field for learning slashing techniques. Ghost path venues are used to teach ghost path techniques, and there are also specialized practice areas for Bai-De and instantly step cultivation in the first 3 days. The main purpose was to familiarize new students with the geographical environment of Zhenyang Lingshu Academy, without any actual courses. Of course, the most important thing is that on the 3rd day of school, the freshmen of the Renwang class have already received their own shallow training. This is just an ordinary wooden knife. Qianshuan carefully examined the appearance of Qianda, and it was indeed no different from an ordinary wooden knife, not at all like an advanced weapon possessed by the Grim Reaper. Don't underestimate this thing. The so-called shallow attack is a soul-slaying sword with infinite possibilities, and it is also the most primitive soul-slaying sword. As long as we inject our own thoughts and spiritual pressure into it, the shallow attack will change and form our own unique soul-slaying sword according to our own will. Chihiro, who was very familiar with swordsmanship and kendo, immediately understood the meaning of King Ren and was surprised to ask, "Is shallow strike a sword embryo?" A very vivid adjective. So in order to condense the spirit-slaying sword and know its true name, we need to communicate and exchange ideas with shallow players every day, which is called Dao Chan. I understand, I will give it a try. You don't have to force yourself too much, just let nature take its course. Slaying the fist ghost is one of the 4 essential skills of the Grim Reaper, and the soul-slaying blade is essential, but you can't forget anything else because of it. Good, so powerful. Although Prince Ren's swordsmanship is not very good, his mind is surprisingly useful. The sentence, whether it is derogatory or commendatory, popped out of Qianshuan's mouth. If you remove the previous sentence, I think I would be happier. As a swordsmanship idiot, I'm really embarrassing you. Ren Wang's forehead turned black. There's no such thing. Chihiro awkwardly rubbed his head. Setting aside slashing techniques and free combat, the King of Ren pursues elegance. He fights with a knife or a fist, and his image is truly inferior. Perhaps it was a subconscious idea, but in short, he had no interest in the art of slaying and beating. Among the slaying fist ghosts, only instantly step and ghost path are his preferred skills. Instantaneous steps can be used to dodge, pursue, and escape, while the ghost path has a variety of strange abilities. Breaking the path is the main attack, while binding the path is the auxiliary, which is very in line with the aesthetic standards of the Ren King. The most important thing is to be able to kill the enemy without touching them. How do you think they are all very handsome, okay. So, both slaying and beating are evil ways, and as a god of death, one should learn instant steps and ghost ways as the truth. Don't you see that in the original work, Lon Rance moved to abandon the singing of the 90th level Dao breaking black coffin and instantly kill a big dog, with a graceful demeanor and graceful posture, is so shocking and cool. With such thoughts in mind, King Ren led Qianshuan to the great library to search for methods of ghost cultivation. Upon arriving at the library and inquiring with the staff, I quickly found the bookshelf where I placed the ghost art. I started reading from the first broken path and bound path, remembering the way the spirit sun ran inside and the chance needed to release the broken path. It was no different from magic. Of course, ghost paths may seem simple, but the things they contain are not something that can be seen through with just a few clicks. It's not like standing there shouting and reaching forward to release the ghost path. The main way to successfully release the ghost path is to use chanting spells in conjunction with the movement of the spirit, and to carefully control it. When the body gradually becomes familiar with this step and the spiritual pressure reaches a sufficiently high level, it can directly abandon singing and release the ghost path. The Grim Reaper who can abandon singing and release some low-level ghosts is at or above the rank of official, and can only abandon singing and release some low-level ghosts. Like Eisen, abandoning the ghost path of singing and releasing the number 80 and 90, one must reach a 7th or higher level of spiritual pressure before being able to let go and perform. At the Zhenyang Lingshu Academy, the level of ghost art that can be taught is below level 60, which means that the highest level of ghost art can be learned here. Naturally, geniuses like Ren Wang and Qianshuan with high-level spiritual pressure can apply to the school to learn higher-level ghost art. On the one hand, their spiritual pressure is already up to standard. If their spiritual pressure is not up to standard, even if they can use the ghost path of number 60 or above, their body may collapse first. But we cannot underestimate the level 60 ghost path. In fact, as long as we can successfully release the ghost path around level 30, we can successfully graduate. During my time at the Zhenyang Lingshu Academy, there were very few students who could practice the level 60 ghost path. Talent is one aspect, but spiritual pressure is the most important. Without sufficient spiritual pressure, it is absolutely impossible to release high-level ghost paths. After recording all the ghost path release steps below the 30th that he needed, Ren Wang took Qian Sun back to his dormitory. It is said to be a dormitory, but in fact, the two people are still living together, and the dormitory is not a small room of several tens of square meters, but a 2-story high-end mansion, covering an area of several hundred square meters, with a cultivation field attached. Usually, there is no need to squeeze into the cafeteria for meals. There are dedicated people to deliver the food, and the quality of the food is excellent. As for why there is such treatment, it's simple. As a genius, there is always a bit of privilege, not to mention being the proud son of heaven who appears once in a century or 1,000 years. Giving some privilege is not afraid of others talking nonsense. If others want this kind of life, they can show their talents and arrange the same treatment for you when they meet the standards. Unable to meet the standards, live honestly in a 4-person dormitory, so capitalism is really despicable. No, it's so enviable, rushing, howling, like the light of nothingness, hurry forward. One of the broken paths, charge. Ren Wang gently extended a finger in the practice field and aimed it towards the front. An extremely small energy wave emanated from his fingertip and rushed forward. With a loud bang, the target several meters away was directly hit with a finger-sized hole. Although the power was weak, the Ren King still showed a joyful expression and started dancing, saying, "It's successful. After all, this is the first time I have started practicing, and using it for the first time can successfully release the ghost path, even if it is just one of the broken paths, it is still very impressive. I am indeed a genius." Ren Wang looked at his hands excitedly, extremely proud. At this moment, a coquettish drink suddenly appeared next to him. One of the broken paths, charge. Aiming at the target that Ren Wang had previously used, a powerful energy wave suddenly gathered on his white and tender fingertips, releasing a huge shock wave visible to the naked eye. With a loud bang, not to mention the target, even a large pit was blasted out from 2 to 3 meters around, emitting thick smoke. King Ren. Ren Wang Jun, I have also succeeded. I jumped happily to Ren Wang's side, grabbed his arm, and said affectionately. A broken path of the same level, but when used without human hands, its power will also change accordingly. The King of Ren has long known this. Just looking at the large pit several meters on the ground, and then recalling how I made a small hole, Ren Wang touched his chin and pondered, how can I put it, is this gap a bit too big? After comparing the differences between the two sides, I only felt that I had countless sharp blades inserted into my chest and received 10 million points of critical damage. And, if you're not mistaken, Chihiro didn't shout any chanting spells just now. Did you chant a spell just now? Ren Wang took a deep breath and asked. Qianshuan tilted his head and said in a silly and cute voice, singing a spell, what is that? Oh, is it necessary to release the ghost path with a spell? But that's how I naturally used it. Prince Ren, you're really curious. Snicker. I feel like I have 2 more sharp swords inserted into my heart, piercing through my chest and receiving billions of tons of critical damage. King Ren has already killed 3 times. King Ren has started 4 kills, unstoppable. The King of Ren has reached 5 kills, killed the gods when encountering the gods, and killed the Buddhas when encountering the Buddhas. The King of Ren has been frightened. Ren Wang said he can GG now. Ren Wang has exited the game. Girl, we're not playing games on the same channel. I'll take it down first. You can play slowly and be happy. Today is the 4th shift, give me some strength. The grades are so poor, I don't even have the motivation to write anymore. Giving me some flowers is also good. Hee hee. Another shameless kneeling plea. Seeking flowers, collecting, recommending.